Welcome to Note Lab Mode. Today, we're diving into the 13 tech trends that McKinsey says are going to shape our world by 2025. But, this isn't just another tech list. It's really a look at the powerful forces connecting everything behind the scenes. And this quote from McKinsey's Lorena Yee just nails it right at the start. We're not talking about simply making things faster. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how work itself is done. It really sets the stage for the massive changes we're about to unpack.
Right, so while the report does cover 13 different trends, the real gold isn't in memorizing the list. It's in seeing the connections, the powerful themes that tie them all together. And that's where we're going to find the most important takeaways. So let's start with the big one.
At the very center of this whole story is, you guessed it, artificial intelligence. It's probably better to think of it less as one trend on a list and more like the foundational engine that's putting every other trend into overdrive. I mean, it's the ultimate catalyst, right? AI is helping robots learn new factory jobs in a matter of hours, not weeks. It's letting scientists model brand new proteins for bioengineering. It is the common thread speeding up pretty much every other breakthrough, which makes it the single most important force to watch. So the first major thing that comes out of this AI-powered future is the rise of real autonomy. We're starting to see systems that don't just follow a script. They can think, they can plan, and they can act all on their own, both in the digital world and now more than ever, in the physical one. And leading the charge here is something called Agentic AI. Now, this is a huge leap from the chatbots we're all used to. Instead of just answering a question you ask it, you can give an AI agent a really complex goal, like, say, research all my competitors and summarize their marketing plans, and it'll figure out all the steps, use the tools it needs, and get the job done by itself. This really shows you the two sides of that autonomy coin. On the one hand, you have these digital agents. Think of them as virtual coworkers that can handle complex research for you right from a laptop. And then on the other hand, you have physical robots, now supercharged with AI, becoming more adaptable and more collaborative than we've ever seen before in places like factories and warehouses.
And if you need proof that this is all happening incredibly fast, look at this. A nearly 1,000% increase in job postings for agentic AI in just a single year. That's not hype. That's the sound of businesses literally racing to build the future of work, and they're doing it right now.
Now, all this talk about autonomy, it naturally brings up the jobs question. But the story that's emerging isn't really about replacement anymore. The whole narrative is shifting toward augmentation. Basically, a new, much more powerful partnership between people and machines.
This quote from the report just says it all. We're moving away from being an operator of a tool to being a co-creator with it. That line is getting blurrier and blurrier, and technology is becoming a much more natural part of our own abilities.
Okay, so here's a really clear example of how this all works in practice. Let's say a machine on a factory floor breaks down. Step 1. A diagnostic AI uses pattern recognition to figure out the problem. Step 2. An agentic AI then makes a full repair plan and even orders the necessary parts on its own. And then Step 3, robotic arms go and do the actual physical repair. See how all those different technologies layer on top of each other? That's the powerful combo we're talking about.
But as amazing as all this sounds, this future isn't just going to pop into existence. To build it on a global scale, you run into some massive, real-world roadblocks. And this is where all that ambition collides with some pretty hard realities.
The first challenge is just feeding the beast. The demand for AI-ready data center capacity is set to grow by 33% every single year through 2030. That's just an explosive, almost bottomless appetite for computing power and all the infrastructure that comes with it. And that demand creates this whole domino effect of real-world problems. You need massive amounts of power, but our grids are already strained and tied up in regulation. You need the latest chips, but the supply chains are notoriously fragile. You need to build new data centers, but there aren't enough skilled workers to actually build them. These are the messy, interconnected issues that could slow this whole revolution down to a crawl. But okay, let's say we solve all those physical problems. There's still one final, human hurdle that might just be the biggest one of them all. None of this works, none of this scales without trust. At the end of the day, trust is the ultimate gatekeeper. This is the question that every leader,
every company needs to be asking themselves right now. As this technology gets woven deeper into our finances, our health, our everyday lives, what does it actually take to earn our trust? And maybe more importantly, what's the cost if that trust gets broken?
And this is where we run into a really dangerous paradox. Even as AI gets exponentially smarter and more capable, public trust in it is actually going down. It's dropped 8 percentage points just since 2019. This is a massive warning sign. It tells us that awesome tech without any accountability is a losing strategy. So how do we fix it? How do we build that trust back? Well, the report says it comes down to these pillars. It means being transparent about how the AI models work and making sure they're fair. It means having clear accountability for what the systems do, with strong safety rules and, of course, data privacy. These aren't just, nice-to-haves. They're core business strategies now. So, to wrap it all up, the big story for 2025 isn't really about any one gadget or any single piece of tech. It's about how these powerful trends are combining, the very real challenges they're creating, and our shared responsibility to guide them in the right direction.
And that leaves us with one last really big question to think about. As AI becomes our coworker, our creative tool, and one of our biggest challenges all at the same time, how are we going to redefine what progress even means? What kind of future are we actually going to choose to build with all this?
If you found this explainer useful, please share it with your network. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the trends that are shaping all of our futures. Thanks for watching.